rev up your engines. Today I'm going to talk about the 5 best things about being a mechanic. And you might have already guessed what number 1 is. You can make a lot of money if you're a good mechanic. Because these modern times, hey, most people don't know how anything works. And they certainly aren't able to fix it. So if you're able to use your hands and your mind and can fix complex cars, you're going to have people running to you to fix them. Me, I've always had a knack for fixing things. My mother tells me when I was a little kid, I was always taking things apart. Back then I didn't put them back together, but now I do both ends of it. Now of course you got to learn how to be a mechanic and you're going to be working somewhere. But if you're a really good mechanic, you do like I did. You run your own business. And yeah, there's responsibility, but the American dream of running your own business, hey, if you've got what it takes to do that, patience, intelligence, know how to deal with people, you can make a lot of money being a mechanic. Now the next best thing about being a mechanic is you have job satisfaction. Every day you get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 cars. You got to figure out what's wrong, fix them, and when you're done, you see, aha, you fixed something. It's completed. Unlike sitting in a cubicle in some office where you never see that anything is actually ever completed or finished, you got a job. You figured it out. You did it, and then you're satisfied. But of course, that's only if you're a good mechanic. I've had customers bring cars to me from other mechanics where they say, hey, the guy had my car for 6 months and he never fixed the thing. So you do have to be a good mechanic in order to do it right. Now the next thing that's great about being a mechanic is every day is a challenge. You really never know what's going to come into the shop from one day to the next. And it tests your brains. It's kind of like Sherlock Holmes. You got to look at all the clues, put them together, then figure out what the root problem is. Now I know a lot of guys will say, hey, I like figuring out problems, but I don't want to get my hands all dirty. Well, modern cars are going more and more towards electronics. So you're actually using your brain a lot more than you're using your physical body. Hey, I'm no Superman with my scrawny arms, but I got a super brain and that's kept me going all these years fixing cars. So if you're really into electronics, being a mechanic can be a great job these days. Things are only getting more and more complex. Some modern cars have 75 separate microprocessors on one car. Now if you're like me and most American men, you love tools. Being a mechanic, you get to get all kinds of tools. And if you either don't want to spend the money on a fancy tool or like using your noggin, you can even invent tools. Over the years, I've invented many tools to fix things. If I didn't have the right tool to get in a hole, I'd get out the tool, I'd get my grinder, then I'd grind pieces off until that one fit right, so I could do it without having to buy a fancy tool. Hey, if crows can fashion hooks out of pieces of wood to pull things out and eat them, people can go a lot further than that. Now the next best thing about being a mechanic is, guess what? You get to work by yourself most of the time. You don't have to be dealing with other people. Sure, if you run your own business, you have to deal with customers, but I mean, if you work at a dealership and you're a mechanic, you don't deal with the customers at all. You spend 99% of your time dealing with the actual machine, and guess what? Machines don't talk back to you. They just sit there. When I was a kid, hey, they'd say, doesn't work well with others. Well, I really don't. I like working by myself. You know, I got my own man cave garage. People can just leave me alone. They fix their car. They pay me lots of money. I'm happy and they're happy. And I got good advice about being a mechanic years ago from my father. He said, you're in a business, never talk politics or religion with your customer. And actually that worked out quite well, because most of that time that talk bores me to death or it gets me so infuriated. If you don't have to think about it at all and you're working by yourself, that's great, especially in our modern times. I think really we need to do more and talk less. And when you're working on cars, guess what? You don't talk at all. Well, you might utter some few choice swear words while you're working, but there's no real conversation going on. And as far as I'm concerned, silence is golden. There's just too much talking these days. Yap, 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 yap. It's nice to be able to sit and concentrate and do something without having all this extraneous nonsense being poured into your ears. Now the last great thing about being a mechanic is this. You get to fix your own car and you don't get ripped off on car repairs. That's the main reason I became a mechanic. I don't trust anybody. And when it comes to fixing things, hey, people can make up whatever they want and charge people whatever they want. If you're doing it yourself, you don't have to worry about that. You'll know which cars are the good ones to buy, which ones are the ones that you stay away from. And you never have to worry about being stranded anywhere because you'll know how to fix your car if it does break. So now you know the 5 best things about being a mechanic. And hey, if you like things to challenge your noggin and you like working with your hands, you might think about becoming one yourself. Because if you're really good at it, you can run your own business and you don't have to listen to anybody except your wife. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.